And I've been hunting my whole life. My parents grew up hunting, and then they introduced me to it at a very young age. I killed my first deer when I was 4 with my dad, and picked up a bow around 7 or 8, and it's just been downhill since then. Started out, I liked hunting a lot more myself, but now as I gotten to do a lot of cool things, I love taking people hunting and just seeing like the excitement and the smiles and the joy it brings people, especially people that are passionate about it. It's kind of like my best friends and stuff. Whenever I get to take them hunting and make them have a good time, it's awesome. I love it. So he was walking, and there was this ridge in between us and him. So we were going to go up and over and shoot down at him, is what we thought. So we ran around the back of this. We're coming up the top. It's Mr. Lance the guide, me, and Matt right behind me. And we come over the top, and it's like brown right in the face as soon as we go over the top. So we just hit the knees, I draw, and Lance is like, whenever you want, kill him. He walks right by me at 6 yards.
Tejas.
That's still 2.
Tejas Hunt Club Podcast is the podcast for you and you and you and you. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 24 of the Tejas Hunt Club Podcast, and the very first episode in the new Tejas Hunt Club World Headquarters. As you can see, the space has changed a little bit. Megan and I actually moved from College Station, and we're now living in the Hill Country, just a little northwest of Austin. So we're getting the new space set up. We're actually, you can see some of the stuff we've had before, Montana Knife Company flag and Broncos flag. But we're still missing a little space here, so we're going to be adding some more stuff in. We haven't dropped the episode in a couple weeks just from being in the move and everything and trying to get all this set up. So we did drop a video on our review on our Gunner Kennel on the podcast platform, and then also on the YouTube channel as well. If you haven't checked that out, you should go check it out. If you have dogs, they're great kennels. And also, if you click the link in the YouTube channel video, that will take you to the Gunner Kennel website, and that'll actually help out our channel. So if you do decide to purchase something from Gunner Kennels, it'd be a whole lot cooler if you click that link first. Just letting y'all know. So between the move and getting stuff set up for whitetails, we've done a couple videos on that as well. We've been still going back, filling feeders, checking cameras, running all that kind of stuff. Been still getting the same group of does and fawns. We haven't seen any drop off or anything, so that's good. Always going into the season with a new good fawn crop. Still haven't seen any bucks come through yet. Either they're being real sneaky, or we might have to get some new cameras. Either way, we're still waiting on those bucks to show themselves. I'm sure they're still hanging out with their buddies and they haven't got all mad at each other yet. But whitetail season is coming up, and I'm pretty excited because archery season will actually start September 30th in Texas, which to me is a little crazy. I've never heard of that before, but if you have, let me know. I think it'd be real cool to shoot a buck in September. Just saying. Maybe even still in velvet. Maybe not. Only time will tell. But the opportunity to be able to take a buck in September this year is going to be pretty cool. Best believe, hopefully, if it's not as hot as it has been, I'm going to be sitting in the stand waiting for a buck to come in. But if it's still running 107 like it was today, probably not going to happen. We'll wait till it cools down a little bit because those bucks aren't showing up in the daytime anyway. So speaking of which, a couple days ago, Texas hunting and fishing license went on sale. So if you haven't picked that up, you should go ahead and get that in. This is a little late, but they also did close on the drawn hunts. I put in for a couple of them. Texas Grand Slam, which would be pretty cool. The Whitetail Bonanza, a couple exotic hunts. So we'll see if we draw one of those tags. And with hunting seasons coming up, the first one, dove season, it's going to be pretty good compared to the numbers that we're seeing this year. We posted a graphic from Instagram, Texas Parks and Wildlife, the other day, and it was just talking about the amount of dove and the new dove numbers. So apparently morning doves this year up 44% over 2022, which their numbers are calculating upwards of 28.3 million dove. White-winged dove are up 20% over 2022, which they're estimating 11.7 million dove. So, with the lack of water we've had over this year and the predictions that they're giving, I think we've done a great job of, keeping dove around. So there's going to be plenty to shoot out there this year. not so good news that we're finding out almost every week in regards to hunting and fishing. Our federal administration has decided to block funds for money to go to hunter safety and archery programs in schools across America. So that's every single state. So the money that helps fund those programs for those kids to have those opportunities to be outside and enjoy nature and find out about hunting and fishing are essentially being denied. So I know personally we've posted about it on the Instagram, in the Facebook group. We got links in both for you to either go to howl.org, which is a great organization. If you haven't checked them out, it's howl.org, HOWL. Great platform that gives hunters and fishermen and people in the outdoors a kind of a way to channel emails and things, contact between people that are supposed to be our representatives. So they've created this way for you to reach out and send out mass emails to representatives, congressmen, senators, people like that that are making these decisions to voice your opinion. So check out howl.org. Join the wolf pack as what their platform does, and try to help spread that message. I know that SCI and Sportsman Alliance, which are also two great organizations that help out with conservation and also some of the litigation stuff that goes on in the government and trying to pay attention to these things. I know that they announced that they were going to actually sue to stop this block of the funding. So check out those organizations. If you're not a part of them, I suggest you join them. I'm a part of SCI, Sportsman's Alliance, Wild Sheep Foundation, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, a lot of them. And these are the people that are standing out, trying to keep things from happening. So these organizations, when you donate to even CCA and all these different chapters for these things and go to these banquets, this is where this money is going, to be at state capitals, to be in Washington D.C. and to lobby for our rights. Essentially that's what we're going to have to do, because these other organizations that don't want us hunting and don't want us doing any of this are spending a lot of money to keep us from doing this, and we're going to have to start shelling out some funds to help fight it, or else we're going to lose it. So join these organizations, volunteer. A lot of it is not even money. It's just volunteering time if you can. It's donating as part of businesses and things. It's supporting these smaller chapters to get to the national level so we're able to fight these things. So if you see an announcement for a clay shoot, if you see an announcement for a fundraiser or anything like that, if you're able to try to donate, try to go make a team for those clay shoots, those things like that, and help raise funds for those organizations. Speaking of which, I know the Trinity Oaks is having a pigeon shoot on October the 7th. So I know their registration's open right now. So that's another organization you can donate to that does a lot of good work. And then the SCI the San Angelo SCI chapter is having a clay shoot as well. And hold on one second. My bad for not finding it before the podcast. September 9th. So if you're in the San Angelo area, if you want to travel to San Angelo for a clay shoot for SCI, definitely reach out and support those organizations, because they need it and they deserve it, and they're doing a lot of good work. But in happier news, I've been shooting my bow, which I hope you are too if you're planning on archery hunting, because it's coming down to the wire. I've actually got a lot of space at this new place, and hopefully we're going to be bringing some videos and doing some podcasts about setting up a little bow range. I'm hoping. Got to get some more targets though, but got a little area back behind the house to be able to set up some different targets out to some pretty good distances. Got some cactus and some trees and stuff to be able to set up some tougher technical shots. So going to be doing that. So stay tuned. We'll give you some updates. Like I said, maybe this weekend or something, I'll post a video of the area I'm talking about on the Instagram channel, put it in the Facebook group. So that means you have to go follow us on Instagram and join the Facebook group, and you'll get that information. Key, hint, hint. Even drop it on the YouTube channel in the shorts. Come on. So to this 24th episode, we're going to be sitting down with Willie Waldrip. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you should. He's a guide also for El Sapo Guide Service with Brandon Blanche. And he's a young guy that's killed a lot of animals. I first saw, we talk about it in the podcast, he first popped up on my Instagram because he killed a huge grizzly on Kodiak. No, excuse me. He first popped up on my Instagram because he killed a brown bear on Kodiak, which is my dream hunt, as I've mentioned multiple times on the podcast, guys. So I've been following him ever since then. Then a couple weeks ago, he posted a picture of a stone sheep, and it looked like an awesome hunt. It was a great animal. Sent him a message and congratulated him on that, and asked him if he wanted to come on the podcast and kind of talk about it. So, like I said, he's a guide for El Sapo Guide Service. They hunt axis, exotics, whitetail, all that good stuff. He grew up in the hill country, and we're just going to kind of sit down and talk about how he got started hunting. And another shout out, I said it in the podcast. You'll hear it later too. But his parents, kudos, because I mean, y'all are raising an awesome kid and a hunter, and it's real awesome that y'all gave him that opportunity and set him up for success for sure. So kudos to y'all. I hope y'all enjoy this podcast. It's pretty good with sitting down talking to Willie. So as always, guys, follow us on Instagram, join the Facebook group, follow us on YouTube. Man, the numbers for the podcast have been doing great. Like I said, took a little break and finally logged back on, and I appreciate all y'all listening to the podcast. All the new listeners that we've gained so far, thank y'all. I hope y'all go back and listen into all the rest of the 23 episodes that we had before this. And we're going to jump in the podcast with Willie. See y'all next week, guys. So, Willie, I'm glad to have you on the podcast, man. I appreciate your time. You know, like you said, you're getting ready to go off to college, you're packing and everything. So, kind of give everybody a little intro. Tell us about yourself, you know, how you got started hunting and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. So I live in Central Texas in the hill country like you now. And I've been hunting my whole life. My parents grew up hunting, and then they introduced me to it at a very young age. I killed my first deer when I was 4 with my dad and picked up a bow around 7 or 8, and it's just been downhill since then.
Yeah, man. If you don't follow Willie, you should check out his Instagram. I mean, he's been hunting for a while, like you said, and he's got to hunt some pretty awesome animals, man. So,
Yes, sir.
like you said, your parents kind of got you into it, and your first deer was at 4. You know, like kind of, I guess, like what's that like, man? Like, was it something that you just like, you know, your parents introduced it to you? Was it more you like spending time with them, and like that's what got you excited about it, or was it like you actually were in love like with hunting from the start?
Yes, sir. I grew up watching my dad go on a bunch of cool adventure hunts and elk hunting a lot, and that's what got me hooked on, is watching him do cool stuff. So I was like, well, if I get into that, I can hang out with my dad and do awesome stuff with him. So once I started to get into it, I fell in love with it, and it's the love of my life. It's my passion, and I'm addicted to it.
Yeah. I hear you on that, man. That's cool, man. Just having that example like out there still doing cool stuff. You know, everybody always talks about like, you know, like getting like hunt when you're young and all that kind of stuff. When we kind of get a family and, you know, you start having kids, like that's going to slow down. And, I mean, like I said, I don't have kids yet, but I for sure plan on still hunting when they're around. And like you said, being
Yes,
that
sir.
example for them. Because I mean, it's one thing to tell your kids, I guess, stories about what you used to do, but actually showing them and actually bringing them along is probably an easier way to get them
Absolutely.
involved in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So, what's kind of like your hunting season been like this year, man? You guide also, right, with El Sapo Guide Service.
Yes,
So,
sir. Mr. Brandon.
yeah, Brandon Blanche. I followed his page for a long time too, man. Y'all been killing some monster axes all summer long.
Yes, sir. He's a hammer.
Scimitar oryx. I mean, whitetails, everything. So, kind of
Yes, sir.
yeah, I guess starting out, if you picked up a bow and everything, like kind of how'd you progress into like picking up a bow and the guiding?
Um, so picking up a bow was just, we had a lease, and it was just my way to get outside, and on the weekends that was my thing I wanted to do. And then as I got older and more serious into it, it became like, okay, this is really what I want to do with as much time as possible. And when I was 10, I met Mr. Brandon and I shot still my biggest axis to date at 7 yards with my bow with him. We snuck right in on it. And he was like, call me when you're 16, you have a job. And
Yeah.
so we just thought it was gonna be a one-time thing, but I hunted with him probably a dozen or so times after that before I turned 16. And then finally when I turned 16, I was like, Mr. Brandon, I'm ready. And so he threw me right into the middle of it and we got going. And I mean, we were a great team. We love doing it together, and I'm blessed to be able to work with him.
Yeah, man, that's pretty awesome. I guess, being 10 years old and sneaking into 7 yards and killing an axe
Yes, sir.
kind of puts an
Yes, sir.
impression on, especially any guide or any hunter in general, man. That's awesome. I mean,
It
like,
was super
so
fun.
how big was he?
It was 35 and a quarter.
Dude, that's awesome.
And we were sitting in the Jeep, and Brandon was like, all right, we got a big deer in this area. Who wants to go? And he was expecting my dad or one of my dad's buddies to go. And I raised my
Yeah.
hand. I was like, Mr. Brandon, please. And he was like, I have to take the kid hunting. Like, we just met, and he's like, I have to take the kid hunting. And then after that, we're a duo right now.
That's pretty cool, man. Like, what was that axis like kind of your first step into the exotics, or had you been hunting them before that?
Um, I've been shooting a bunch of stuff with a rifle before that, but that was definitely my first exotic with the bow. And then once I shot that, I was like, okay, these things are pretty cool. And then it went spiraling, as you can see.
Yeah, man, dude, axes, they'll hook you pretty good, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
whitetails and axes and mule deer. That's like
Yes, sir.
the one. Like I've gotten to hunt mule deer once. We went up to Idaho with my buddy Jared last year, but like even watching them now, like I'm trying to make a plan to get to Mexico at some point in my
Yes,
life.
sir.
But like,
I
man,
love those things.
axes, whitetail, mule deer, they just got me right now. Like if you look at my Instagram, that's pretty much all that's on there.
No doubt. Yes, sir.
That's pretty cool. So like, you get older, you start hunting axis. I mean, is that probably your favorite animal to hunt, or like what would it be?
Favorite animal in Texas is definitely axis, and they give pretty much everything else to run for their money. But I love elk, and now, like I hate to say it, my dad would be disappointed in me, but I like sheep hunting now.
Of course, man. Like, and that's what I saw your sheep the hunt you went on
Yes, sir.
recently. And I mean, you've been on sheep hunts before and stuff too. Like that's a whole nother level of like
Yes, sir.
hunting, like for anybody. I mean,
It's
I follow
it's
the sheep
absolutely
hunt stuff
crazy.
too, and it looks awesome. It's just crazy country, beautiful views, and like some of the most awesome animals that you can find.
Yes, sir.
On this
Yeah,
side of the earth for sure.
absolutely.
So, what was the? How old were you when you went on your first sheep hunt? I mean, not like you hunting necessarily, but like actually getting into that country and chasing those.
My first sheep hunt ever was this year, actually. My mom had the Texas Bighorn tag, and so she let the family tag along for that. So that was my first time ever putting hands on a sheep. And then in March this year, we had the opportunity to go to Mexico,
Yeah,
and I stuck it out with the bow all week, and they had a bad drought, so there wasn't a lot of sheep. We got to 90 yards was the closest, and he never got up out of his bed. So no sheep in Mexico, but that was my second sheep hunt, and the stone sheep would be the third.
yeah, yeah. And
Yes,
where'd you
sir.
go for this stone sheep?
It was in northern BC.
Dude, that's crazy, man. That's awesome. So, like you said, just well, the Texas Bighorn, that's cool. Like with your mom going on that hunt, because that's also a tag that's like not easy to get, and they're awesome animals too. And
Yes, sir.
people talk about the odd versus the bighorn. I mean, like they're kind of going back and forth and living in the same
Mm-hmm.
country. I mean, I enjoy them both, but I'd
Me
probably pick
too.
having the more bighorn than aoudad, just because they're native and they were here first. But
Yes, sir.
the aoudad, I love those too.
Oh, they're so cool.
Yeah. But like,
No
so
doubt.
how did you like? What was the decision like being from going to your mom's hunt and then going to Mexico, like how was it just like I want to go on a sheep hunt and try to get one for myself, or like how did that work?
It was my mom's hunt in Mexico, and we had an extra tag, and so if it was a rifle situation, my mom was gonna shoot, and if it was archery, I was gonna shoot, and we kind of hiked our butts off for it. But my mom killed a big sheep, and then we never got on a second one.
Yeah,
But after that, I was like, oh, this sheep hunting thing, I don't really get it, and now I get it.
yeah. So like, how many miles were y'all like putting on down there in Mexico, and like were y'all
Ooh,
mostly glassing or just hiking from spot to spot?
We did 11 miles the first day in Mexico, and then it was about the same for the rest of the 5.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yes,
like,
sir.
what elevation wise, where were y'all at? Like, where
Sea
were y'all
level,
finding the
sea
sheep?
level, just the mountains right off the ocean.
Yeah. So then y'all were just glassing from the bottom and then trying to find them and then trying to put a
Yes,
spot.
sir. And then if we couldn't see from there, we'd go to the middle and get up top, and then hike around the peaks from there.
Nice. So like, how high
Yes,
were
sir.
they on the mountains there?
Hmm. My mom's sheep, we found him up top and then followed him, and he went kind of halfway down when we killed him.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's that's awesome, man. Especially like being
Yes,
right
sir.
on the beach and everything, and
Yes,
then just
sir.
glassing up on the mountains. That's pretty cool, man.
It was cool.
Yeah. So you like you said you're you get to hunt in all these different places and guide people and stuff. I mean, do you enjoy hunting more yourself, or do you like guiding more?
Um, Started out, I liked hunting a lot more myself, but now as I gotten to do a lot of cool things, I love taking people hunting and just seeing like the excitement and the smiles and the joy it brings people, especially people that are passionate about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my best friends and stuff. Whenever I get to take them hunting and make them have a good time, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
Yes,
So
sir.
like getting more time to spend. I mean, making more time to spend in the woods, either if you're behind the rifle or the bow, or it's a good way
Yes,
to
sir.
learn.
Yeah, either way, I'm gonna get excited. I don't need to be the guy pulling the trigger all the time because I get just as excited watching it, if not more excited.
Yeah, I hear you on that, man. Like I said, I made a post the other day about Megan when she killed a buck a couple years ago, and that was probably like one of the coolest experiences. And like I said, I was the one behind the gun. Like I spotted this deer.
Mm-hmm.
We were actually going to the blind for me to hunt, and I just was looking down senderos and stuff, and then I spotted this buck just out there. We had corned some roads earlier that day, and then he was just out there feeding, and like I kind of glanced, and then like kept rolling, and then I'm like, oh man, I think that's a buck. Like, let me stop. And got out and looked. And I'm like, yeah, he's a pretty nice buck, man. And Megan was like, are you going to go down there and shoot him? I was like, no, you go down there. She was hunting with a rifle. And dude, she made one of the coolest stalks. And I got to watch it from up top and film it and everything. And just like watch her move and him still standing there. And then she finally got there and made the shot. Like you said, man, it's,
It's hard to
it's
beat.
cool seeing other people be successful also, but like you said,
Yes,
it
sir.
kind of gets you more pumped up to be like successful for yourself too.
Yes, sir. No
That's cool.
doubt.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Like, so with all this, dude, like, what do you want to do? Are you trying to be like, are you going? What are you going to go to school for? I guess.
That's the big question right now. I'm going to school for finance, but I'm studying finance to keep the door open for me. I don't know what I want to do in life yet.
Yeah, dude, and
Yes, sir.
yeah, it's definitely just take your time and figure it out, dude. It's
No
like,
doubt. Yes, sir. I'm in
yeah,
no
but that
rush.
that is a good route to take. I mean, you can go anywhere with that, and plus, if you make money, you can go hunting a lot more too.
Exactly. That's what my dad tells me. Yes, sir.
That's funny, man. So, what like was your where exactly like you're out in the hill country and like y'all hunt mostly West Texas, South Texas, kind of what's that like?
Started out hunting in the hill country, like near Llano. I had a lease out there, then a place in San Angelo, and then three or 3.5 years ago, my dad and my mom bought a place in Sonora, and so I've been blessed to hunt out there for the past couple of years, and that's where I spend all my time in Texas.
No, yeah, I definitely spend.
Yes, sir.
I like that area. I've been
Oh,
out
it's hard to
Sonora
beat.
like once, but we hunted near Rock Springs, so kind of out that way, and then like closer to Del Rio too. So man,
Mm-hmm.
that West Texas, once you get to hunting out there, man, it kind of gets into you real good.
Oh yes, and there's so many deer out there. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean the exotics too. Like that place that we hunted was low fence, but I mean
Mm-hmm.
we had cyca deer, we had axis come through. I mean, one morning I even saw a cow elk out there. So I mean, it was
Really.
like yeah, that was a pretty crazy experience. Like we were actually going turkey hunting out there, and I mean there was cows on this place. So I mean, cruising and seeing like a big shape like that early in the morning, like
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty normal. So I was like, oh, it's just a cow on the road. She'll move out of the way once I get up there. And then I'm just rolling along, trying to wake up still. And then I just kind of keep looking and keep looking. And then finally it like picks its head up. And I'm like, wait, is that a cow elk? And then it just like, by the time I like figure out what it is. It just like jumps, like it's gone in the bushes. And like Megan's right
No
next
kidding.
to me. She sleeps, so she didn't even see it. But like I was like, oh my god, that was an elk. That was an elk. That was a cow elk. It's like right there. And then like
That
we
is
tried to stop
insane.
and look for it, but we never saw it again. But every now and then after that, there was a couple people that were on that lease that would see him on the cameras every now and then, but they weren't like ever really like there. I think they were just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
passing through.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's wild. I didn't know they had those down there.
Yeah, I didn't either. It surprised me, man.
We had red stag one time, but that's probably the craziest thing that's jumped the fence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like you said, being out there, you can run into anything. And I mean, like you said,
No kidding.
there's elk out in West Texas, but mostly they're kind of more north of like
Mm-hmm.
where that area is. So like being that far south was pretty crazy seeing her running around.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
well, that's pretty cool. But so like besides Texas in the U.S. and stuff, like where else have you been hunting?
Been fortunate enough to go to Africa a couple times when I was really young, but outside of the U.S., Africa is probably the closest thing to Texas, and it's my favorite so far. But Canada and Alaska, I guess Alaska's the U.S., but it's
Yeah,
a long way from Texas.
yeah, it's a long way from Texas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's cool. It's what'd you hunt in Africa?
Um, all the plains game, and the first time that we came back, and then a giraffe, but mostly just plains game.
Yeah, yeah. So no
Nothing too
dangerous.
crazy. No, sir, not yet.
Yeah, like you like dangerous stuff like Cape Buffalo's high on the list. You know, hippo, all that.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. A
So did your
leopard for
parents hunt
sure.
any of those when y'all were over there?
Yes, sir. My parents, we went over there for them, and it ended up being me who was shooting the most stuff. I got cut off pretty quick.
Yeah,
I
man.
was a trigger happy little kid.
You're in a target rich environment. I mean,
No doubt. Yes, sir.
What else are you gonna do, man? What else are you gonna do?
Yes, sir.
And as
Yes,
pretty
sir.
as all those animals are, it's just like looking at it like, oh, I ain't never seen that one before. What's that one look like?
It's
Well,
hard to
let's go
pass
try
them
and
up
get
when
in.
they're standing there.
Yeah, I haven't been yet, but I did. We did a podcast with Megan and Jarrett, and they've both been. And like I said, they've had a blast. But a bunch of buddies in
Hmm.
Africa, just trying to work on it, try to get there, man. Because
Yes, sir.
it's a long list of animals. You could get, like I said, it's a target rich environment, and they're all there.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
It's the place.
So in the U.S., I guess like hunting Texas and then Alaska and like the mule deer. You hunted mule deer besides like
Yes, sir. I haven't killed a mule deer in Mexico. I killed 2 bucks in Utah. I killed like a 179 on a general unit hunt, and then I killed a 202 in the Paunsaugunt.
dude? Dude. I okay. Let's hear about both of those. We'll start with the smaller one first.
Okay. So the first one, I drew the tag and I was probably 13, and a mule deer at the time was top of the bucket list for me. And we went and we hunted for like a week and never got an opportunity. And I was like heartbroken over. I remember being just like crying in the bathroom. My dad was like, "Willie, it's gonna be okay."
Did y'all see deer during
Yes,
that
sir. We were
time?
after a big deer. We just never got into range. I couldn't shoot as far back then. And so
Yeah.
the next year, I drew the same tag, and my mom drew it as well. And it was the last day, and my mom was stalking this bigger deer. My dad, like, I went off by myself, and I got to like 30 yards of this buck, and he had double droppers on one side, and I was like, "Oh, come on!" I shot him, and it was just like overwhelmed with emotions. Like I finally killed a mule deer. It was the coolest thing ever at the time for me.
Oh my gosh! And then being that close too, that's freaking cool, man. Like,
Yes, sir.
well, it sounds like you're about getting in real close to them. You might say you
I
shoot far, but most of the animals you're telling me right now, they've all been within almost like 10 yards or so.
pretty much, yes, sir.
That's awesome, man. I mean, the
Yes,
closer
sir.
you get, the harder it is to miss, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So and then like you drew that, and that was the 179.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then the 202. Well, like you shoot a 179-inch mule deer, and most people would probably be like, oh, okay, I got my one and I'm good. But if I'm hearing this correctly, and I'd probably be in the same situation, if I shoot a 179, I'm trying to be like either shoot one a little bit bigger, about that same size
Exactly.
next year.
Exactly.
So
Yes, sir.
I'll go
No
back
doubt.
to that same kind of. Did you draw that tag again?
No, sir. My dad gave me his tag actually the next year, and we're on the Arizona Utah border, and the guys we were hunting with, they found a big deer. We got in there opening day, and got in pretty close and got him killed. It wasn't as exciting, but it was awesome.
Yeah, and then like it works out like that too. Like sometimes, like I have buddies too, and like yeah, we shot a deer, but it wasn't like this exciting story that go
Right.
along.
Sometimes it just works out how it's supposed to, and doesn't need to be a crazy story, you know?
Exactly, exactly. If
Yes,
everything
sir.
just if every hunt went as we plan it to go, there would be any cool stories because I mean the ones that you're planning like, oh yeah, this is gonna work, and then you end up hiking or something happening, like those are the cool stories. But like those ones when it's just like slam dunk, like goes down
Hmm.
to a T, everybody reads the script, are very welcome because they're kind of
No doubt.
sweet.
Bring them on.
Because either I'll take all those now, and at some point I'm gonna probably go a couple years or some time where it'll even itself back out.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It always does.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's cool. So hunting all these mule deer and everything, like what's kind of like your goals with that, man? Are you just like gonna try and just hunt every season as much as you can, or do you have any goals that you're trying to accomplish? Like, man, I'm sure like hunting sheep and stuff, you're setting for the sheep slam and all that. So
Yes, sir. I would love to get that one day, but right now it's just kind of it's my passion. It's what I love. It's like sports for some kids or
yeah,
music for others, but hunting is my jam, and I'm just trying to chase it as much as I can, and live it up while I can, and take the opportunities that I'm blessed with and make the most of them.
dude, that's awesome. That's a great way to look at it.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you're
Yes, sir.
like you said, you're accomplishing some things pretty young. So it'd be
Yes,
really
sir.
easy to kind of like, you know, I guess not necessarily take it for granted, but like uh,
Right.
get let it get to you and like let it be you
Mm-hmm.
instead of just something that you love doing. And I especially
Yes,
think
sir.
like you said,
Absolutely.
wanting other people, helping other people hunt and everything, kind of keeps you grounded and like being able to like you know help other people, like you said, hunt and learn. So
Yes, sir.
that's
Yeah.
good, man.
I've
That's
been blessed with a bunch of opportunities to take people hunting, and any opportunity to show hunting in a good light or in a positive way, I'm about it. I love it.
dude, yeah, same thing here, man. Same like we have the page and everything, and do the podcast and all that kind of stuff, and of course like we do the photography and videography, and
Mm-hmm.
work with deer breeders and other people in the industry, products and stuff. So it's it's cool when you do find that passion. And I mean, dude, like I said, you're lucky that you found it so young because like I
Yes, sir.
hunted a little bit when I was younger, hog hunting and stuff, but I really didn't like reach out or like try to do the stuff that I'm doing now, like trying to go out west and chase mule deer and stuff. Like, man,
Yes, sir.
growing up and seeing those videos, it's like you said, not having that example
Mm-hmm.
of like parents that are going out and do it. It looks like it's far off and it's really hard to do, but like if you just take that one step into learning how to do it, it kind of just sets itself up, and you figure out like, hey, man, this isn't as hard as what I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, chasing animals is hard, but getting the
No
opportunity to
doubt.
get tags and stuff, it's there. And that's I try to tell my buddies all the time. They're like, "Oh man, that was cool. You went to Idaho." I'm like, "Dude, you need to go. Like, you want to go hunt elk? You want to go see that? Like, you need to
Mm-hmm.
go because it's like I said, more people are doing it, which is great, but it's still that opportunity is kind of they're figuring out how to balance that out. I guess across the states and stuff. But
Yes, sir. Yeah, I remember watching all that stuff on like Jim Shockey's shows as a kid, and like the Outdoor Channel was everything when you're a little kid. It's
yeah,
just like it's all your dreams are on TV right there. I remember thinking, man, that'd be cool to do all that.
yeah, yeah. And like I
Yeah.
said, he was one of the big ones that I watched too. And I mean, like the Primos guys and seeing bull
Yes,
elk
sir.
screaming in the woods and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, the turkey stuff didn't really get me excited when I was a kid. I didn't get into turkeys till actually like a couple years ago. But like even looking back now and seeing that, like how that showed you like hunting,
No
and it
doubt.
was in
Yes,
a
sir.
good light too. I mean, eventually, it kind of got to where it was more like watching a commercial, but like it's
Absolutely.
it's
Yes,
kind of
sir.
like balancing itself out now. And I mean, even on like our side for video and stuff, like I like telling stories, so
Mm-hmm.
like it's cool that the product or whatever we're wearing or something like that, like definitely going to give props to the gear we wear and stuff, but. I don't want it to be like a commercial. I don't want it to feel like,
Yes, sir.
you know, we're trying to sell you something. I'm just trying to show you what I use, and if it works, I'm gonna
Yes,
tell
sir.
you it worked for me. And it might, even if I tell you it worked for me, it might not work for you. So
Yeah, it all depends on the person for sure.
exactly, man. And like you said, I like trying out gear, and that's another aspect of hunting. Like I'm not sure if you've gotten to that step or you're into that, but like you thought it was just about the animals. Now it's about like the packs and all the extra
Hmm.
stuff and like figuring out what works and everything, and binoculars and bino harnesses and all the different
Yes,
stuff
sir.
that kind of go along with that. So like what's I know you wearing a QU hat, so I'm guessing that's your favorite camo, and like I said, judging from your Instagram too. So kind of
Yes, sir. Yeah.
what's your kind of favorite gear stuff that you like using, man? Like what bow you shoot, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yes, sir. My dad is friends with all the Kuyu guys, and he was there from early on. So that's kind of just what I grew up wearing, and figured I'd support the guys I like and enjoy to be around. So,
Yeah,
but as far as bows go, I have a Matthews Phase 4 now, and I shoot a 5-pin black gold sight,
I like
and
it.
then I rock the 6 arrow non-detachable quiver just because it stays in my pack so much better on the out west hunts.
Yeah,
And then my arrows, I shoot a Valkyrie system, which is like 180 grain fixed blade that's like that long,
yeah,
and with a big outsert and everything, and it's absolutely hammer. I would recommend it to anybody. But I've always shot a Hoyt until like 3 years ago. I
uh-huh.
started shooting a Matthews, and I don't know what changed, but I love them.
Yeah. I mean, I started with a Matthews. My buddy Jared had a bow a couple years ago that he had left over because he got a new one, and I started shooting that. And then I bought the Matthews V3X. Got that last summer. So then I've been shooting that, and then I shoot a black gold Mountain Light. It was a 3-pin sight, and then
Yes,
I
sir.
was out there yesterday shooting that yesterday because like I wasn't went to tack and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like I wasn't able to shoot as far because I needed to move my housing up and all that. So I was messing with that
Hmm.
yesterday, and then like I haven't gotten a chance to really wear the QU stuff, but I talked to EJ Varos
Oh, yes.
all the time. So yeah, he's been trying to get me to wear QU and like, dude, you need to try it out and all that kind of stuff. So I talked to him a lot, and then with that, yeah, and he always like mentions like how good it is and everything. I mean, I've seen it at shows and stuff, but I need to get some stuff and test it out and try it, see if I like
Yes, sir. You would not regret it. It's all good now, but I would recommend it to the end of the world.
it. Yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, like you said, there's a bunch of companies that make good stuff. It's kind of just it's like I said, it's just figuring out what you like, and
Yes,
it
sir.
seems
What
like
works for you, what you like, and who you want to support.
yeah, and then like my closet, my camo closet now's got everything in it. Like there's not just one camo because, like you said, I like
Yes, sir.
testing stuff out and seeing different stuff. So I got Under Armour stuff, I got First Light stuff, I got stuff from Bass Pro, I got everything, man.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
Seeing what I like, but that's
Yes,
cool.
sir.
So, what pack do you run? Well, I guess you run a QU system.
It just depends on the hunt actually. In Alaska, where it's going to be heavy stuff like brown bears, grizzly bears, I'll run a Barney's pack, which they're designed by this one guy in Alaska. He's been making them his whole life. And they're a big frame pack. It just fits perfect with like me, and it's a big pack. It fits a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah,
And it's like when you pack out a brown bear, it's 120 pounds in your pack. And so it's just important to have a good support system on your back. But
yeah,
on sheep hunts and stuff that I don't need too much weight, I'll rock the Kuiu packs.
yeah, and like on the mule deer
Yes,
stuff
sir.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. Like a mule deer elk hunt, I do a Kuiu Pro 3600.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yes,
that's a
sir.
good pack too. I mean, I haven't used, like I said, getting the key stuff. I run a Kafaru. I have the Hellbender. I mean, I got a bunch of Kafaru stuff. I really like the way their stuff's made.
Yes, sir. I've heard great things about them.
The Rogan, I use kind of like as like a final approach pack or something like that. Or then I use it as a blind bag, and we're hunting whitetails
Hmm.
here. It's like
Yes, sir.
carry my charger and phone and everything in that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, you like I said, you can go down a whole rabbit hole on different gear and stuff like that. As far as like
Yes, sir.
glass, what are you using?
I use Swaros, the NL 1042s.
Nice, nice. And then are you use big glass or just the binoculars?
My dad, I make him carry the big glass on the sheep hunt, so I don't want that in my bag.
That's funny, man. That's funny.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you're like, I'll just pack the binoculars. You'll take the big glass and just do it
Yes,
that
sir.
way.
Yes, sir.
That's funny, man. But so do you just stick mainly now to like bow hunt, or you still pick up a rifle every now and then?
I'll pick up the rifle when I need to, but if I can kill it with a bow, I try to kill it with a bow. But I'm definitely not opposed to the Pope and gun route.
Dude, yeah, it depends on the season, man. Like I'd tell you,
Oh
I
yes,
love
and the
shooting
animal.
bow, but I mean, I didn't get any tags this season, so I'm not going to make any trips out west this year. But I'm trying to go on a pronghorn hopefully next year. That's like my main goal. And then if I can find a mule deer tag or something somewhere, that'd be cool. But like pronghorn is going to be pretty high on my list. And then
Yes, sir.
New Mexico, I saw they have that the scimitar oryx hunt, like that
Oh
one.
yeah,
I'm probably going to try and put in for pronghorn or scimitar oryx or both of them, trying to get those for next
that'd
year.
be cool.
But like
Yes,
even
sir.
with those, like man, if I draw that scimitar oryx tag, probably going to be shooting that with a rifle,
You're
just for
taking the
what I've
smoke pole on
seen.
that one for sure.
Yeah, it's a bunch of open country, and like it'd be hard to put a stock on those animals, man.
No doubt. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and pronghorn too. So yeah, I'm more of an opportunistic hunter.
It's
Whatever
a
I can get a
great
tag.
place to be. That
Yeah,
is a great place to be.
it is. I mean, I think guys that are like, "Oh, I'm just a rifle hunter," or "I just shoot bows," I'm like, you're pigeonholing yourself, man. Like you could
Oh
be
yeah, you're limiting yourself big time.
more time hunting, no matter the weapon that you're using. I mean, eventually, hopefully, man, if they had like uh, a traditional archery season, I'd try to start shooting traditional
I
archery.
would definitely start trying it for sure. I don't know how good I'd be, but I'd try it.
Yeah, I'd give it a shot, man. But yeah, like I said, I just feel like saying you just do one or the other kind of just keeps you from hunting a whole lot more, and that's kind of like the turkey
Yes,
thing.
sir.
Like getting into turkeys was the same deal. Like I want to go hunting. We'll go see what these birds are about. Man,
Absolutely.
I fell in love with it.
Really, you did?
Yeah, dude,
I had the turkey
I
bug for a
like
long
turkey hunting.
time.
Have have you
It's
been
cool.
you do a lot of turkey hunting or no?
Yes, sir. In the springtime,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't really hunt them
when
during.
I'm when the axes aren't roaring, I'll say that.
There you
I
go.
used to have the turkey bug.
Yeah, but it'd be like I guess it's cool because I mean they kind of start the axes will start running a little later, like especially here in South Texas, you can kind of hunt turkeys in
Mm-hmm.
March, into April, and then just roll on into axis season. I mean,
It's
and
perfect, right?
a
Good
lot of
little
times too, when
transition.
you're turkey hunting, you might run into an axis.
I've had that happen multiple times.
Yeah, and that hunt changes real quick. Forget about those
Yes, sir.
birds.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, man, I'm glad I got you on the podcast. Actually, no, hold on. I want to hear about this grizzly story.
Okay. The brown bear, the 6 yarder.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yes, sir. So that was a brown bear, and that was on Kodiak. I was just turned 16 on that one, and my mom was supposed to go, and she couldn't go, so I took her tag. She transferred it to me through the state,
Dude,
and
I'm gonna stop right now, and I'm gonna probably say that if you're when your parents listen to this, if they do listen to this, congratulations. I, are they adopting? Like I love my mom, but that to give up a brown bear tag like that, like your mom's an awesome lady. Your dad
she
too.
is. She's the absolute best in my eyes. Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
so back to the story.
So we got to Kodiak, and the weather was terrible, so we were stuck in the town of Kodiak for a couple days. Couldn't get a plane out, and then as soon as we could get a plane out, we did. We flew to, I don't know if I'm supposed to say where. We flew somewhere on Kodiak Island,
Yeah, there you
and
go.
we got there. Weather was terrible again. We were stuck in the tents for 2 days. And the first day we could get out, we made this big hike around the beach, and we went up this point. And as soon as we got to the top of the point, it was like a big rainstorm, hailstorm. So we just hunkered down for a few hours, had a cup of coffee, and just waited for it to pass. And as soon as it passed, we came over the top, and there was a big bear, and it was like, everyone get your stuff, let's go. So we took the bow off, we hauled down there, got ahead of him, got to 55 yards. I drew, and he wouldn't stop. We whistled at him, we called at him, he wouldn't stop. So he was walking, and there was this ridge in between us and him. So we were going to go up and over and shoot down at him, is what we thought. So we ran around the back of this. We're coming up the top. It's Mr. Lance the guide, me, and Matt right behind me. And we come over the top, and it's like brown right in the face as soon as we go over the top. So we just hit the knees. I draw, and Lance is like, whenever you want, kill him. And he walks right by me at 6 yards. I was like, Matt, you good? Yep. Boom. Hit him. He ran, and he actually fell off the cliff. So he went down on the beach. So we had to climb down there and go get him. Took pictures, cleaned him, and then we got back at like 5:30 that night. to the
And
tents.
was that your first time being on a grizzly hunt?
No, sir. I killed a grizzly bear
Or I
two
guess
before that.
a brown bear hunt.
Yes, sir. That was my first brown bear, but I killed two grizzly bears before that.
So like by this time, it's just like putting them down. I mean, like I'm
And that's what I thought. I thought it would just get easier, but that one I remember at 55 yards, looked back at my dad, and I was like, "Whew, here we go again." Like I was kind of nervous, and it's happened before,
that's what
but
I'm like.
now,
Man, it's like like is
yeah. But
do you just
you
like
try to
zone
push it
in?
away.
And you're like just there in the moment. You're just focusing on your shot because
Yes, sir.
this is one of my hunts that I really want to go on. But I'm still like I said, I grew up hog hunting, doing that kind of stuff. So danger is kind of there, right? Danger is kind of there, but that that's not the same thing at all.
No, like after I shot him too, I shoot, and he hunks up, takes the arrow, and he just turns and looks right at us and sits down on his butt. And so we just lay down like this, and Lance has the gun, and I'm just laying there, and I'm knocking my second arrow, and I draw back again, and he stands up and looks at me, and then he ran off. I didn't get a second shot, but we didn't need one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one thing too. I mean, like in shooting it with a bow is like you shoot it he's not like a deer that's just gonna just run off.
right. They're gonna sit there and
They're
figure out
gonna
what got him.
turn and try to figure out what just grabbed them because they're a
Yes,
predator.
sir.
They're not a prey.
Yes, sir.
They're like whatever it is just hit me or touch me.
Oh, yes.
About to die, and there's always I've watched all those videos on as much as every grizzly or brown bear video there is on YouTube. I probably watched all of them, but like every single time when they make that turn and they look, that's the moment where I'm like, that's where I'm not going to know what to do.
Yes, sir. I got to give a huge shout out to Matt on those because when it gets scary and stuff like that, he's always just sitting there, just armed with his little camera, and I'm like, Matt, you're crazy, dude.
Yeah, yeah,
And he always gets the perfect shot, the best stuff ever, and he's probably
yeah.
the best out there in my opinion.
He's real good for sure.
He's very
Some of
good.
the shots that he's getting, you you got to be there, and you can't be like,
Yes, sir.
I'm about to get out and still trying to
Hmm.
film. Like you have to be there holding that
Yes,
camera to
sir.
get those shots, and
Yes, sir.
it's getting it or getting it.
He's such a good hunter too, so he's always about it, and I think that's what helps a lot with him.
Oh yeah, I mean that. I think that's one of the biggest complaints you'll see from anybody that's hiring a cameraman
Hmm.
or trying to produce content in that aspect is like you can get a lot of guys that can run a camera and that'll
Absolutely, and they can
produce
be
it.
incredible.
They don't know how to hunt and
Hmm.
being able to hunt and still learn how to run a camera like you're doing it because there's a lot of guys that's either or. Like you get guys that
Yes,
can
sir.
hunt and be quiet, but then you turn around and like, hey man, did you get that shot? And they're like, I didn't hit record. Well,
That's the worst. I've been
yeah.
there.
Or like I don't know. Or even worse, I hit record and he's holding the camera over here watching you hunt, and then you're looking at the footage and like, dude, you're not even on the deer. Like
Yes, sir.
we're looking at blue sky and clouds right now.
There's got to be a happy balance for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I love doing that aspect and telling stories and stuff. And I'm no, by no means am I perfect. I mess up all the time, but I'm working on it and trying to get it there because, like you said, it's a passion of mine, and I really enjoy it. And I like showing
Yes, sir.
people cool stuff because I
Yes,
like doing
sir.
cool stuff.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. Well, dude, I'm not gonna hold you on here too long. I know you're gonna get packed and everything and head off to school, man. Good luck at Tech. You know, not like I said,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
that's a good school. I'd pick it for sure. But
I'm really excited.
nice man. I think you'll enjoy Lubbock. It's a good area. And
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, you can do some waterfowl. Well, not actually
Some
waterfowl,
mule
but
deer
like do
too.
some duck hunting and sandhill crane
Yes,
stuff
sir.
up there. So you'll be in
Yes, sir.
good country.
Yes, sir.
And you'll get a little jump start on heading out west too.
Exactly.
You don't
Exactly.
have
It's
to
only a four.
cross
It's only a
8 hours.
four-hour drive to the elk hunt.
That's awesome, man. Well, cool. Appreciate you coming on the podcast. We'll get
Yes,
this
sir. Thank you for having me.
get this out and share it and everything. So we'll definitely have you back on. You know, when you go on
Yes,
the
sir.
hunts and everything.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.